What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast. I am, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith, and as promised, I kept it a secret for long enough. For the guys who've been listening, for everybody who's been listening for a while, you remember we had the wonderful gentleman to my right on the podcast about a year ago. Mr. Travis Swaggerty is here joining the Locked On Pirates podcast. And before we get started, Travis, thank you all for making me your first listen of the day every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. I almost forgot. I said it 3 times and still almost forgot what podcast network I'm on. You can follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan. You can also follow this podcast on Twitter at Locked On Pirates. And you can see Travis's Twitter now over here. And the last time we had you on, Travis, we did not have YouTube. So now everybody gets to see you in what is his at-home custom gym that he made himself. So, Travis, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I can't complain. I appreciate you having me on. It's a beautiful day here in South Mississippi, so
there
can't
you
complain
go.
one bit.
Awesome. Well, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, you'll be getting to Pittsburgh, getting to Florida for spring training. But before we get started, how's the offseason treated you? How's everything been since the season ended? I believe you were in Altoona for most of the year, right? And then you moved up a little bit to Indianapolis. How's the offseason been treating you so far?
Yeah, so I got 2 weeks worth of AAA time in Indianapolis and dislocated my shoulder, had shoulder surgery, my non-throwing shoulder, for everyone who wants to know that. Yeah, I got surgery in June, and it's a 4 to 6 month recovery. So, I started hitting in about November at the 5 month mark, and since then it's been smooth sailing. I mean, I rehabbed the whole time, and my off season has been relatively normal based on the recovery time, and then how long I've had after that. So I feel pretty good right now. I feel strong. Swing feels great. Arm feels great. So I'm just ready to get things going.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I think a lot of us are getting ready to get things going as well. And one of the biggest things that happened to you since we've last had you on, of course, for those that don't know, Travis did get married. He has a newborn, all that good stuff. Oh, clearly way bigger than baseball, but congratulations to you, sir, on all of that. That was very fun to see.
Thank you.
Grow a little bit after that. I was like, wow, this man's like growing right up in front of my eyes. But what was the call like? When you got that notification or call or text message that you were on the 40-man roster for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Yeah, I was actually on the way to the hunting camp, actually. So the deadline was, I believe, 5 p.m. Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben Charrington called me at like 4:50 or 4:55. So I'm driving there still stressing out. I'm like, I haven't heard anything all day. Like, what is going on? And then he called me and, congratulated me. And it was a great phone call. I mean, getting to hear that after, missing all year with that shoulder injury, like it was definitely good for me, good for my confidence, and for me to build it up moving forward. It feels good to be protected and looked at as one of the higher end guys that can crack the big leagues this year. So.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I always like to ask when I have the players or anybody from the organization on, what's it like talking to Ben? He seems like a really interesting guy to have a conversation with. Are those conversations usually pretty fun? Is he kind of like the, kind of giddy up guy, or is he just kind of just like straight to the point business kind of guy?
I would say he's more the straight to the point business guy, but he's a super normal guy. Like he's super easy to talk to. Like it doesn't feel like, you're talking to your boss. You're talking to Ben. So he's a really good guy, and he's got this organization going in the right direction. So I've loved working with him so far, and I have no complaints.
Oh, yeah, and you are a big reason why the organization as well is going in a big direction, hopefully here in the next couple of years or even going into this year. And you mentioned that the offseason, of course, you had the rehab, pretty normal for you as well. But what kind of parts of your game were you really focusing on this offseason, and where are you looking for improving heading into this 2022 season?
For me, it was just mainly getting healthy. It's hard to work on things when you don't feel 100%, so the whole focus this offseason was to really just get healthy, number one, and then kind of find the feels again. When I got hurt, I was feeling really good, and I've spent the last few months just searching for similar feels to how well I felt back then. So it's mainly just getting my body back, like my body awareness back, and feeling everything sync up, and then keeping everything on defense and my throwing crisp. So it's just mainly fine-tuning things. There's not really any drastic changes that need to be made. just keeping everything together and fine tuning the little things day by day. So seems like one day I'd be hitting and one thing would feel weird, and then the next day something else would feel weird. So it's just kind of bringing it all together.
Oh yeah, and what's that like? I mean, a lot of people might not understand like with your like with hitting a baseball and especially your batting stance and everything. Even the little like most minor thing can make the whole process feel off. So what's that like? You know, kind of just fine tuning and constantly changing even the most small things about your batting stance or how you play in general.
Well, hitting is a diminishing skill. So it's, it feels like for me, if I don't hit in 2 or 3 days, I feel completely different than I did, the last time I hit.
Hmm.
So I think for me, just there's not really much to say. I mean, just like the feel of, I mean, I'm 24 now, so like there's not necessarily anything big that needs to change. It's just kind of feeling the same thing over and over, the repetitions, and trying to just adjust off of that of how my body feels that day. Um, but I mean, I video a lot and I watch a lot, and I'm like, well, my swing looks the same right here than it did 2 days ago. But why was I smashing balls 2 days ago and today I suck? I don't know what's going on. So it's just like the smallest little thing. So it's just being on time and keeping everything in sync and together, and then just letting everything go after that.
Oh, and shouts out by the way too. I noticed when you leaned up a little bit, I see the jacket was an Adidas jacket. You got to go with the three stripe brand
That's
sometimes. Got
right.
to love Adidas. Um,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course. And moving
Absolutely.
on from all the stuff that you've been improving on this off season as well. 2022 appears to be a big year for you. Of course, we already mentioned that you got the 40-man roster spot, which usually means you're probably going to end up making that jump to the major league level, which I fully expect you to do. I really am like one of the bigger guys. If you ask anybody that listens to this podcast ever, if you ever do, I'm very high on you as an outfielder. But moving on from that, though, what can we expect from you this year and from Travis Swaggerty even past this year?
You're gonna make it hard for me to be humble with that kind of question. Um,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
are a pretty humble
the
guy.
goal is to get to the big leagues. Yeah,
Yes.
the goal is to get to the big leagues and stay there. No one wants to be the guy that goes up to the big leagues and then goes up and down from AAA and back up and down. I'm trying to get paid. I got a family to support, and the money in the big leagues is a hell of a lot better than it is in AAA. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get there and stay there and become an everyday piece in the lineup. And I feel like I can bring Gold Glove caliber defense out there wherever it may be in the outfield. And then, hopefully by the end of the year at least, I could find my way up at the top of the lineup where I feel like I'm going to stick in the long run. So that's the goal, just to be there and stay there.
Oh yeah, and do you have any guys currently on the MLB roster that you kind of look up to or kind of fine tool your game around on the Pirates roster? Do you have any of those specific guys that you kind of look at every day and you're like, yeah, I could. What he's doing right now is looking good.
I think the easy one would be Brian Reynolds.
Hmm.
Him being an outfielder number one, and then he started in the All Star game. So like that's really easy to look up to, and he's a super humble guy.
Hmm.
And getting to just watch him work during spring training last year was a treat. And he goes about his business very professionally, and I would try to model how I conduct my business like he does. So I mean, he's a pretty easy role model to have if it
Oh
comes to
yeah,
the Pirates right now.
and I'd say that'd be a pretty fun outfield to see Brian Reynolds and Travis Swaggerty manning things out there in PNC every day. And speaking of, too, obviously you've been in the minors in the system for a while. What teammates or coaches have you kind of, looked up to? Who's helped you out a lot and kind of helped you turn into the player that you already are now and the player that you hope to be moving forward?
That's a good question because there's so many teammates that we rallied together. I mean, but it seems like every outfield that I've been in, we've all been one unit. So I
Hmm.
wouldn't say necessarily one particular teammate because I love them all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say one's better than the other. I love them all. But if I had to say a coach, a particular coach that has helped me the most, I would say John Nunnally,
Hmm.
who a lot of hitters would agree with me. Just the way he goes about his business, the way he teaches, the way he also keeps it loose with us in the cage. Like he's just a fun guy to hit with, and when you're having fun in there, it's a lot easier to get back to the basics and really focus on what you're doing and just have fun. At the end of the day, it's about having fun.
Oh yeah, of course. And I mean, hey, when you have a name like yours, I think I've definitely spoken on this a couple times. A name like yours is going to stick pretty easily to the Pirates fan base. A lot of people already appreciate the fact that your name
I hope
literally
so.
has the word swag in it.
I
I
hope
mean,
so.
yeah,
Maybe some T-shirt designs will come out in the future. We'll see.
yeah, we could have a Pittsburgh clothing company. They follow this podcast. I think they might listen to it too. I'm sure they could come up with something or two. And of course, had to get into all the fun stuff as you mentioned, but as of right now, our Twitter handle is still locked out Pirates because of all that stuff going on with the CBA. And I always like to try to gauge where the players are because at the end of the day, as a fan, for me, I get to watch you guys play every day. I get to analyze, talk, all that fun stuff. I get to talk about whatever. But for you guys, this directly impacts a player like you, especially because you've been in the minor leagues for so long and you're about to be making this jump to Major League Baseball and everything. What are your thoughts on how the CBA negotiations have gone, and what are some things that you would like to see move forward with the game of baseball to make it better?
Well, I'm sure you're just as impatient as I am,
Mm-hmm.
for us to get back to baseball. Especially me being hurt. I've been and COVID. I've been out of the game a long time. It feels like so. I'm just ready to get back to it. But with how the CBA is going, the players really are trying to make everything better for us. When it comes to the rookie minimum going up and the service time manipulation and all that, they're just trying to benefit the player as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the owners are obviously going to try to make as much money as they can. I would assume. But I've kind of stayed out of the loop on that. I'm just trying to focus on getting ready, and I feel like most players right now that are sitting at home right now are just trying to stay as ready as possible. So I'm ready if the call comes tomorrow. I'm ready if the call comes in a month. I just know whenever the call comes that the union has my best interest in mind, and that's a good feeling to have. So I know they're going to take care of me and everybody else. So that's what I'm looking forward to. It's just them finally getting a deal done and at least moving in the right direction. There's so many different things on the CBA that they want to change. The players do, and obviously the owners are not going to want to change them all. But I think just changing a few of them in our benefit would be a huge win for us. So, maybe revisit some of the other ones we couldn't get this time at the next CBA. But it's looking good right now. So we'll see.
Well, that's good to hear that it's looking good. I'm sure you probably have an inside
I
track on
think
how
it's
things
looking
might be
good.
going.
I think
Oh,
it's
he
looking
thinks it
good.
does. I was
I
going to
say
say, it
that.
sounds like you had an
The
inside
stuff,
track
the
for a second.
stuff that they're, the stuff that they're negotiating about, sounds good for me.
Yes,
The minimum salary going up, that's good for me.
yeah, at the end of the
I
day,
get to the big
Travis
leagues,
just wants
make a
to
little
get
extra
paid.
money than I would.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, you
Try to,
just
hey,
want to get paid. I mean,
try
hey,
to
that's what we
put
all
food on
want,
the
right?
table. That's it.
Oh yeah, of course. And
That's it.
also too, I was going to mention, I see your Twitter handle now, and I might have just now realized this. I was going to ask you what kind of jersey number you'd like to wear for the Pirates, and seeing the number 21 on there right now, I don't know if you'd want to wear
Not
21.
available.
Not available.
Not available.
So could we see 12
Um,
possibly be a thing?
I love number 12, but I think on the roster right now I had number 50,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm okay with because Mookie Betts is 50 and he's obviously the man. So I'm okay with being number 50. But I think normally the way the Pirates do it is you get your number like when
Mm-hmm.
you're a rookie or you just get put on the 40 man. You haven't been in the big leagues, like whatever your number is in spring training, that's what it is. And then once you get in the big leagues, and then the following year you can change your number. But if I had to choose, I would choose either 12 or 5. I don't know why. I've always loved number 5. Uh, but I'm pretty sure Don Kelly is number 12, and he wore number 12 in the big league, so I would never try to take it from him.
Yeah,
But
well,
12 is a big one for me, just because my daughter was born on the 12th, my wedding anniversary on the 12th, my wife's birthday is on the 12th, which is in 2 days. So that's a big one for me.
oh yeah, of
So if I
course.
had to choose, I would choose 12.
I mean, 12 would be an interesting number as well. And I mean, hey, it looks like you have a lot of ties to it. The last guy, or one of my favorite Pittsburgh Pirates players of all time, Josh Harrison, actually wore number 5. So I would be fun to see number 5 be worn. I just, I like to have the inside track on what number you might find because I might have to cop a Travis Swaggerty jersey pretty soon. Never
That's
know.
right.
Oh yeah, of
Number
course.
5 is such a good number, and it seems like somebody different wears it every year. I'm surprised someone hasn't just stuck with it, but
Yeah, I mean
besides Josh, after Josh, it feels like it's somebody different every year.
it has been. I believe Michael Perez has it now. If I'm not, or I might have that wrong. I don't
That's
know.
right.
There's so many numbers.
No,
There's
you're right. Michael Perez had it last year.
yeah. I was gonna say there's so many numbers on MLB rosters. It's so hard to keep up with. Honestly, I'm waiting for us to get triple
It
digits
is.
soon. But any final thoughts or words that you have to the Locked On Pirates Nation as you've come back this year, and also as well as just to Pirates fans in general, and just anybody interested in the career arc of Travis Swaggerty?
Well, I would say, in the spirit of this podcast, keep your eyes locked on the Pirates in the next couple years, because the way that Ben Cherington and the rest of his regime have structured everything and the trades that they've made, the future is bright. If you look at the guys that are in the minor leagues right now that are knocking on the door, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot more talent here now than there was 5 years ago. So I would just keep your eyes peeled and get ready for a bright future.
Nice,
And
man.
that comes
That's
for
what we like to
everybody.
hear. Awesome. And also, thank you, by the way. Thank you for the plug. I liked how you worded that a little bit. Be locked on to the Pirates.
That was
for
on the
next couple
fly.
years.
That was completely on the fly.
Well, hey guys, I can already start something now. Travis is a fly and swaggy guy. There you go. We can start chanting that
That's
to him
right.
whenever he gets to
Bingo.
PNC, starts hitting bombs into the Allegheny. But Travis, thank you so much, man. It's always a pleasure having you on. Hopefully, maybe we can get you on during the year. I know you're a super busy guy, especially during the season as well, let alone the off season. But it's always fun having you on. Tell some of your teammates, man. Tell them to come talk to me. We always like having the guys on the podcast. Just slide them over. Slide them over here.
That's right. The power of the retweet button will make it happen.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, man. Well, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Travis, of course, would not be here if he didn't appreciate you guys as well. Of course, you guys can follow this podcast on Twitter at Locked On Pirates. You can follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan, and you could follow Travis at TSwaggerty_21. Again, sir, thank you so much for coming on as always. Hopefully, the at-home gym is getting the gains up there, man. I don't know where you're at, if you have a weight goal or anything, but you look great either way. You said you're feeling good. You look
Thank
good.
you.
Everything's working out. So, guys, thank you so much. We will be back at you tomorrow with a crossover episode with Locked On Cardinals host Lucas Smith. But until then, I will see you on the flip side.